Welcome back to Behind the Build. Today we're diving into one of the most critical and underestimated parts of construction, electrical. As a home gets more advanced, the role of electrical has changed so much and dramatically over the years. EV chargers, smart panels, loading for electrical is a lot of what we're seeing now in new, modern, high-end homes. This has changed and made a huge impact on how a home performs nowadays. So today we're sitting down with Dylan from Browning Electric. Thanks for being here, Dylan.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, man. Just wanted to get a little introduction and tell us about yourself.
Of course. Yeah, with Browning Electric, we kind of started, I was a sole proprietor before 2020, did some subcontracting work, came back from the oil sands, which I worked quite a lot as an electrician, and doing a lot of work in cannabis industry, so a lot of industrial, commercial, and some residential service calls, but cannabis sector kind of died out. And I started moving on to my own company and doing service work and whatnot. So as of 2020, started Browning Electric and kind of just, rolled it as my own little business for a while. And then eventually once 2023 came, I started to actually push it a lot harder and even brought on a business partner too. So 60-40. So he's a massive resi guy as well, and brought him on just to accelerate our business. And we've been just answering the phone, and especially like North Shuswap around there, like people, we answer the phone, we show up on time, and it's amazing. People just keep wanting to call us back. So
That's awesome.
It's easy to blow up that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great story. I did a lot of work in the oil sands too back in the day when things were slow. But you hear that story quite often actually, and it's nice that you're able to transition back to working closer to home.
Yeah.
And that's positive for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You see a lot of guys that get stuck up there forever, and I kind of saw my window and I was like, okay, I'm getting back in. And I had a girlfriend at the time, which is now my wife, and I was like, I just seen so many guys go through divorces, and it was time to get back into residential and the commercial world. So
definitely. What kind of jobs do you specialize in then?
We definitely specialize. Generators is top focus. We're getting more into solar now. So we've done a decent amount over the last 5 years, but don't advertise as much. But now there's decent rebates and whatnot. So we like that, plus the battery backup. So it's kind of like a big package deal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these solar guys out there that just that's all they do is just solar. And we like to kind of provide the whole package because solar is not right for everyone.
Yeah.
So those, and then we're getting more into custom homes. We do a lot of spec builds and just homeowner builds.
Oh yeah.
But they get a little chaotic, and because we're kind of newer, especially into Salmon Arm area and whatnot as a company, just everyone has their own contractor already, electrical guys, right?
Yeah.
So we're slowly building a better kind of, I guess, repertoire of contractors that want us to work for them.
Yeah, appreciate that.
But we also get a lot of smaller contractors that come in, and it's just chaos in builds and or just little reno companies that we've done work for that it's almost like we need to just say no.
Hear that story quite often.
Yeah.
And you talk about different contractors and whatnot. What have you noticed that's changed since 2020 to now, in the industry?
I'd say companies just are getting a lot more better systems, more organized. And I think a lot of that is due to podcasts and whatnot. Companies around here, social media, everyone's just the knowledge is huge now, where everyone's actually learning, where before all this, it was just you're learning from a buddy or your company that you worked for 10, 20 years, which probably was doing it wrong from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I think the bigger companies, and you guys have been doing great from what I've seen online, and it just seems like everyone's structuring their businesses better to actually serve the clients rather than just showing up.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right.
And we talk about what's standard now in homes, and it seems I would say 90% of the homes we're doing now have EV chargers in them. And have you been noticing that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. EV chargers, and that's a huge thing right now. And like we do a lot of service upgrades too, is another big service of ours.
Yeah.
Because like service upgrades, even panel swaps, because all these old like Federal Pioneer, Novoline, like all these old panels that are causing issues. And then also people want EV chargers, and you can put load shedding devices in if someone has like a 100 amp service, but it's kind of putting a band-aid on the situation if it's just 100 amp and they want heat pumps and everything in the future.
So yeah, with that being said, so you're seeing service upgrades becoming more common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, we get tons of calls for service upgrades, and even if it's just a panel swap, I always recommend just do the service upgrade, because you're going to be paying twice in the future.
For sure. For sure.
Even just value to the home too, right?
And what about like smart home tech? Has that changed in the last 4 to 5 years?
It's always changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got our guy, so like our 2 journeymen that we have now, they've worked for decent sized companies around here, and they're big on custom builds. So they're Lutron certified, the one guy, Raw 4. And yeah, we're going to be getting more into that as well. So that comes with the whole custom home thing. But we see in the future, like a lot of homes are going to be going, I mean, they already are with smart homes, but I see that direction being everything controlled by Alexa. And
yeah. Well, it sounds like you got a pretty versatile crew if you're able to accommodate all those aspects. So that's good.
Yeah.
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 You know, I guess this kind of, for you, it's probably not relevant, but have you seen a shortage of skilled workers like that you're able to acquire?
Yes, for sure. The huge thing that's helped us though is the social media. Like we try and show up where I'm on social media, and like we try and show our guys as much as possible.
Yeah.
And we get so many comments or guys calling us and journeymen that like we probably wouldn't have got, because they're like, oh, we've seen, and like I feel like I'd be a good fit.
Yeah.
So that's actually how we got one of our really good J-man. He came from another company that's kind of closing out in Vernon. And then same with a guy that moved from Kelowna out to Salmon Arm. But yeah, finding J-man is tough. And I hear a lot from my other electrical buddies that own companies that they struggle. And we've been getting a decent amount of resumes. It's still like we've had to let go of a few guys. But
and with journeyman electricians, does that mean you're a licensed electrician?
Yeah.
It does. So with the journeyman ticket, you're certified licensed electrician.
So yeah, the journeyman electrician basically means that like you don't get to pull permits, so that you need to get your FSR in order to pull permits and whatnot. So there are some electrical companies where it is like just chucking the truck or whatever, where it's just a journeyman. Yeah. And they don't have an FSR, but they'll use another guy's FSR.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Appreciate you clarifying that.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about, you know, I'm sure you get calls all the time from, you know, homeowners or random reno guys. You know, do you ever say no to people like that? And what makes a builder good to work with? Like a positive experience?
Totally. I've had a lot of trouble saying no in the past.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at it now. I'll always go to the house or go there and at least look at the job. Yeah. Because I mean, it's hard to tell over the phone sometimes, but we do know like reputations of some builders that or whatever, just small rental companies, or I'd say no. Yeah. But yeah, just some nightmare things that we've had in the past, and it's just companies that aren't structured at all. And like we're trying to structure our business as good as possible. Yeah. Where we can serve the clients, we can serve contractors, where we're not getting pulled off jobs. It's not a perfect science yet, but it's like the builders that it's like, we need you tomorrow to come finish. It's like, couldn't you have given us like a couple weeks or even just a week or a general guideline? Yeah. And like, it's just always fires, or we show up to a job where they said, this is the scope and we're planning, like, I know how much this is going to take. Yeah. But then we show up to the job and they've got 7 different things for this rental that just popped up in the morning. It's like, it happens. Yeah. But not on, like, it's just, it seems like every single day with some of these like homeowner builds or small contractors, right? So yeah, it's frustrating.
It's funny, we were recently at the Canadian Home Builders Association Awards for 26 this year. And, you know, a colleague of mine was doing a speech and he said, it's just as important to interview your clients as it is to take on a job. Yeah. And it kind of coincides with what you're saying. And I've, with experience, I've noticed that too over the years. It's not about getting as many projects as possible. It's about finding the right projects.
Yeah.
And that just comes with experience though.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, that was like...
There's always those one-off where you're like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And that's part of business.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, that's like, when we were first ramping up, it was like, I would take anything and like try and, but you realize like those are the jobs that burn you and they're the clients that just give you the most headaches sometimes. And same with the contractors too. It's like, you got to learn how to filter them.
For sure.
And you don't want to get burned by them if they're a bad contractor and then you look bad because you're underneath of them.
So I guess, that kind of goes along with what I was going to ask you next is, what do people underestimate about the cost of electrical when they get you to the project? Is it like scope change on the fly? Is people don't understand the cost difference?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the biggest, well, like service wise, like usually people don't understand how much it costs for like a generator, let's say. But we try to quote all of our jobs as much as possible. So we're trying to get away from time and materials. So I like to look at the whole scope. Like, let's walk through everything. I like to do like a little video through the quote, walk the people through it, and even run through it with them on site if possible.
That's a good point. Running, taking a video as you're doing the walkthrough, because then it's all documented and you can refer back to it and say, okay, remember, here's that topic or whatever. Yeah,
and I'll take pictures. I'll mark up pictures. Like, the more detail that we can give to the clients on the quote, where a lot of companies, they'll come in and they'll just say like, oh, I'll give you a rough estimate and, oh, we went with this person because they're a lot lower.
Yeah.
It's like, cheaper is not always better, because usually it's the things that they've missed or the person is misunderstood about their rough estimate, and then they get burned at the end.
Yeah,
so
always. And it's the old saying, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And, I see it all the time where, and we're definitely trying to transition more of a fixed price quote on our end too, even when it comes, especially with new builds, but when it comes to renovations too, just to really set the standard of what's happening during the project.
Yeah.
And, that's been super positive for us.
Yeah. And it's a tough thing to do, because it's like, you encompass everything and someone is going to come under and like, they're not going to include everything, and then your price looks higher, but in the end, like, and the service that you can actually provide and like the structure, whereas like this one man off guy that looks cheap, it's not going to be cheap. And then the fixes and
totally. And man, if there's anything experience that I have that is those projects where it's like, you're bidding against X, Y, and Z, those aren't necessarily the projects you want anyway. Yeah. And, if you can separate yourself from that and be in the top 10%, where your clients are just picking you because of a referral or because they've seen your social media or they trust you, your customer service experience is better. You'll get referred, and the profit's not much different because there's no headaches. Yeah. And you're not going back to the client that's refusing to pay because they didn't understand the scope of the work to begin with.
Totally. And that's the biggest part on our end too with time and material. At least with electrical, I can speak for that. It's like, people don't know how much this stuff costs. Yeah. So like, even if you gave them a low hourly rate or whatever, it still builds up into a decent amount. So I'd rather give them that price up front with some options. And that's the big thing too. Like, I'm getting better at, it's like, okay, here's like 3 to 4 options. It's different tiers. Like, the more options we can give our clients, it's like, no, we don't need the full home standby. Like, let's go with the portable. Yeah. Rather than just like, this is your fixed price. And then they're like, okay, no, I'm going to go with this guy that gave me options.
Exactly. Also picking an option and then having the option to modify it slightly. Yeah. Okay, I want to put a plug here. No, okay, no problem. Just little things like that. Yeah. I find, definitely working with a contractors is much simpler. That then we can go back to the designer, homeowner, like the communication loop's fairly tight. Yeah. And it's always been positive. Yeah. But, as far as your experience is concerned, is doing like DIY electrical ever a good idea?
No.
No. Yeah.
We've come across so many sketchy things, and like, even though someone, like, they can look at a wiring diagram or whatever and see like, oh, I know how to do this, but just the way that they splice things, or like 99% of the time that we go into a DIY situation, they'll have the moret on there, but you pull the moret off and the wires just split apart, which like it's like, oh, okay, I put the moret on, but as you put it back in the box, like there's little wings that can easily unspin the moret a little bit, and then your conductors, and we've seen it so many times, you open it up and there's a burn mark all around the moret. There's fire, like
it's safety is so important. We talk about that more so now than ever. Obviously, it's not the Cowboy Club like it used to be back in the 90s in BC, obviously, for good reason. But, electrical, it's nothing to mess with. And that's, if you have somebody bonded in a reputable company, that's a no-brainer. Yeah, definitely. This, kind of speaks for everybody, is what electrical upgrades are, in your opinion, are worth the best value?
Best value, I mean, it depends where you are. Solar's still on the edge, like it depends on the house. Like solar and battery backup are great. There's good rebates and whatnot. So like depending on the house, it can be super beneficial, especially if you got like CPAP machines and all that kind of stuff. But like some clients that we deal with, like way out north, or where they have mostly all electrical, if they need stuff backed up, it's going to be your generators, stuff like that. As for just like normal things around the house, like the panel upgrade is huge, because we get so many calls, especially going into winter season. So the biggest problem is people plug in heaters. It's a lot of like older homes that they might not have great heating around the house, so they'll plug in their baseboard heaters. And these old panels, like say Stab Lock, Federal Pioneer, the breakers don't trip. So it overheats the circuit and won't flip the breaker, which causes a fire. And the amount of calls that we got this year alone, it goes up every year now. So every time we see one of these old panels, I tell them, like, I at least give them an option, like, yes, let's do a panel replacement or a service upgrade. It's just a huge safety thing, and that's the biggest thing that comes to mind, is just the fires that we've seen. Like, it's crazy.
And I guess, it's always the old question about solar, how many years you got to live in the house for it to pay itself off. And is it a good argument to say that it's a selling feature though too? Like, do you see an equity gain from solar as well?
Yeah, I mean, the typical like ROI that I've seen with the ones that I've done is like kind of around that 15-year mark. And it's hard to balance, like when you do have the benefit of the battery backup as well, like when you're putting all that price together, because it's kind of a separate entity as the battery backup. It can also help with your bills too, because your solar produces when you're on time of use with hydro. You can actually use the power that you've produced with the batteries during your most expensive time, so you're not getting billed.
So, long-term for a client or long-term for a homeowner, if they're in it for 10, 15 years, there's benefit after that. That's great. But, I would definitely argue as well to add to that there's an equity gain for the home if you were to sell it. Because if I was a buyer and I saw a home with a beautiful solar system that, I was paying peanuts per month for electrical, that would be a perk for me.
And that's what we did. Like, we have solar on our place that we had just bought. So someone else had done it, someone else paying for it, but I was like, I would have bought the house anyways, but it's such a great perk and selling feature. So even if you just have the solar, it's like, we pay minimal for our hydro, which... So
this might be a tough question, but what's worth not spending money on when it comes to electrical?
That is a very tough question.
I'm looking at it. I'm just laughing right away. I'm like, well, you probably don't want to answer that.
Everything is worthwhile.
Everything's worth it. No, you do the whole Monty. Oh man. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you could, if there was one thing that you were like, this doesn't really add to the homeowner's experience or value, would there be one kind of component of electrical? I off the top of my head, I don't see anything that wouldn't be worth spending money on. But
I'm just trying to, like, and the same thing goes, it's some houses, or like depending where you are, like if you don't have a great south-facing roof or anything like that, or there's tons of trees, solar might not be a great investment. Right? So
such as this house too, where it's 6 months out of the year there's no sun.
yeah,
And then the solar panel would theoretically only be working, so you really got to take that into consideration.
yeah. Or if you have an old house where you have to replace the roof too, and we've had people that do it and you install it,
yeah.
but it's still like it's a big cost. If you're going to replace the roof anyways, it's like, yeah, do it solar. But if you're just replacing it to get solar, just because you're not going to take the panels off
Totally.
and then redo the roof. But
yeah.
that's the biggest thing that could kind of come to my mind is it's just very selective. Like not every house is fit for it, but
Yeah. And I guess this is more of a question for myself, and I'm sure everybody else that's going to be watching, is when you do install solar panels on the roof, does that increase the longevity of your roof from sun exposure? It doesn't, like, or is that?
I guess it could. Yeah, but I mean, you still have stuff mounted to it, so I wouldn't know that question.
Yeah,
that question
yeah.
really. But I wouldn't want to say like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not gonna have sun beating down on it and whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's going to reduce snow load and stuff because it hits the panels and it slides off. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So, for the future of homes, we talked about service panel upgrades. We talked about smarter homes, load management stuff. What is there anything new that's coming down the chute as far as home electrical?
Well, I've been looking. So we're actually doing a modular home to go down to Wyoming, and they've got these span panels that are like smart panels that have load shedding built in. I think Leviton has a little bit of that built in as well. But I see smart panels being the next go-to thing. So that's kind of next on my list to really start focusing on that. Because instead of having to put in a separate load shedding module and like you can actually control your loads. Like they have lots of monitoring systems that we've been putting in now, or at least like you can tell which circuit is pulling what and you can kind of manage your electricity like that.
Yeah.
But something that's more smart and automated, I think that's going to be kind of one of the next big things for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool actually.
Yeah.
And you talk about environmental stuff, and it's a real passion for people in BC to save the environment, because we live in such a beautiful place. Is being able to get some of that solar power and recycle it back. Because is it an option to sell the power back to hydro?
Yep.
Yeah.
But like what hydro pays you for what you're selling it back to the grid, you're better off sizing the system, using as much energy as you can on your own. And that's why batteries kind of help too, because you're paying more for what you're using from hydro than what they're going to pay you for what you sell back. So the more you can actually utilize of your own power, store it with batteries, if you're on the time of use system, then you can use it more in the time that they're charging you more. Basically.
No, it's such a positive, really. And if you can have that battery backup, I mean, you can be off the grid. And there's lots of places, in the Okanagan area that don't have hydro too. Like I think out at Cousins Bay as well. They had no power forever, and I still think that it's solar only out there.
Oh wow.
So that kind of coincides with what you're saying. It's definitely the wave of the future.
Yeah. The only misinterpretation that people have is like, oh, these batteries can back up my whole home. And it's like, if you would need a generator if you're like purely off of, and like, unless you're like gas everything, you just have some switches, plugs, whatnot. But it can burn up a battery. Like you can get massive battery systems, and then but like your cost is going to go through the roof.
Yeah, because we do install those Generac systems once in a while where clients are like, okay, and you just never know, right?
Yeah.
It definitely future proofs for any weird catastrophic thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So, I know that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Something that we always do on the podcast, or we definitely want to start doing, is we're a part of a few different charity organizations in the Okanagan, such as North Okanagan Youth and Family Services, Okanagan Hospice Society. We're actually part of the Canuck Place Hospital, because I'm a Canucks fan.
Nice.
And it's, to give back and help the kids out is kind of, it's huge.
Yeah.
Just wanted to put it on you. If we were able to donate to an organization in your name, would there one of those? Which one would you pick?
Was there a children's?
Yeah, that's North Okanagan Youth and Family Services Foundation in Vernon here.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we
Awesome.
do a lot of donations and helping community around Salmon Arm and Vernon and stuff too. So
That's awesome. You
yeah.
know, it's you talk about a slower economy because we all know we're in one, and we all make excuses up to save money and whatnot. But as far as the organizations are concerned, their demand hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And for us, it's still maintaining that investment to charitable organizations during a slow time because it just feels good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why you build the company how you do, and like whatever you can kind of have left after, like support communities and like
Yeah, it goes
generations.
Yeah, it goes such a long way, Dylan, to especially for out your way too, Salmon Arm, that Shuswap area. It's there's lots of kids out there and lots of people in need too. So it's I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That we've standardized over the years. And so now we've got an employee standards thing that everybody reads once a month, and it doesn't usually change within a monthly period, but it just kind of keeps everybody accountable and on the same page.
Yeah, that's
because as
huge.
a busy guy like yourself, you don't want to chase employees for doing weird stuff.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and they need to know who they're accountable to, and that's like what we're standardizing a little bit more as well. Like where before, as we just started, and like you grow so quick that it's like no one knows. It's like this person reaches out to the admin or like the subreddit, and it's like the admin's got an influx of everything coming in, and like having that org chart where you know exactly who's responsible to who, like what you're responsible for, KPIs, like
totally.
It's
those systems are so important, and they're designed to make business less of a headache for the owners and for the employees too, really. So what we've done in the past as well is we'll actually videotape ourselves talking about a subject such as employee standards, time you show up, just everything. So and then we'll send it to an employee before they start working for Ryco, and it's been super positive because all of a sudden I'm not getting any questions prior. They know exactly what's going on the shift, what we expect, and it's all done through video because a lot of people are visual learners too, right?
And then they get to know you a little bit. Like onboarding's huge, and it's something we're still working on as well. There's only so much time in a day, and like as you're kind of caught in like the nitty gritty of everything, and like that's where I'm trying to pull out a little bit to work more on the business, and it's always a tough balancing act for sure.
No, that's awesome, and definitely having a bit more time because obviously you're married, and family time is important too. But having that having when things are quote unquote a little slower than normal, being able to fine tune little tweaks. There's this buy back your time book or whatever. One thing that you can change a day. 365 tweaks is huge. Like how do you think businesses can become super successful? Well, they treat their employees good and they got good stuff. Well, it's doing little things right on a daily basis.
That one, because that's Dan Martell, right? Yeah. And then Atomic Habits is another like really solid one that I think I've read probably 2 to 3 times. Where it's just like do that, like brush your teeth, and then right after that do this, like those little systems, and like even I organized my sock drawer the other day, and I just felt more dialed like instantly.
That's part of buy back your time. Like Dan Martell's thing too is he sets out his clothes for the day the night before, so you can wake up in the morning and you can get like just little things that make your day more efficient. And
for me too, it's just even choosing clothes, like it's a lot of the bigger guys talk about that, but it's like I just have jeans and then I have a Browning Electric shirt, and the wife's always like, you need to get this or that.
Consistent though.
I'm like, I know what I'm putting on is right out of this drawer and good to go.
No, man, that's a small secret from successful people is consistency. It even goes back to what you wear on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's a decision fatigue, like there's so many decisions to make in a day. Like I don't have to decide, like, should I wear the white shirt? Should I wear this?
And back to what we were talking about before, because I've read the 10X book as well.
We did their course actually.
Easier to it's easier to 10x than 2x, and with that kind of coincides with what we talked about on the podcast today was interviewing your clients.
If
it's not about having 40 clients. It's about having 5 good ones.
Yeah.
And that, it's just so much more efficient for a company.
Yeah, and it comes down to service. It's like you said, it's like if you have 40 clients and 35 of them are just chaotic and like you're basically just burning both ends trying to serve them, or you can have a little less clients but actually be able to serve them properly. And like that's 100%. The biggest miss I find like in our industry, and like we get the comments all the time of it's just like I said, like showing up on time and like doing the work and communicating. Even I was talking to the guys who had a little leadership thing this morning, and even like I've been on site when there's been plumbers on site, and then they'll just like leave and not even talk to the client. And then the client, I'm like, oh, is so-and-so around? And they'll be like, oh, I don't know. I think he left, or like, I don't know where he's at. But it's like just simple things like that. Just like tell the client like, oh, hey, like so-and-so, walk them through what you did, or like, hey, we got this left to do. Like, it's simple things that.
Well, that's a good system. So do you guys do like a weekly thing with the staff?
We need to get doing it more, but I'd say probably a monthly thing. Like we're kind of remote. We have teams in Vernon, and then teams out of Salmon Arm.
Yeah.
So we'll do like video calls and whatnot with the whole team. But that was kind of just our leadership meeting, so kind of just like structure and all that kind of stuff.
Right
but
on.
It's good, like getting into person. Like we don't have an office yet. We're deciding whether we go Vernon, Salmon Arm. Vernon's a great hub.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what your future plans are and where you want to be based out of, definitely, if your thought is to expand into Kelowna, or stay more North Okanagan and stay in the Shuswap and Vernon area, then that's a tough one.
Yeah, Vernon I think is one of the best hubs, because like even if you're in like Vernon, you got Kelowna, it's not that far to Kamloops, you can jump out to Salmon Arm.
Yeah.
So right now, and like because we have crews in Vernon, and like one of our best guys is there too, and we're getting some more home builds out that way. Yeah. But we're trying to market more towards there. But because our Google, like the local listing that you actually see, like it's out of Salmon Arm.
Yeah.
So it doesn't spread as far. Like our Google ads go to Vernon, but it's like when people look, this would be like, oh, they're out of Salmon Arm. Like, but we have people, so
totally.
We might try doing like a second Google
location,
but
makes sense. You would hate for that to be a deterrent for somebody, but it probably is. If somebody's like, I need somebody fast, and they see, oh, you're in Salmon Arm, perfect, they probably call you right away. So no, that's great.
Yeah, and even we still get lots of calls for Kelowna. Like we go all the way to Kelowna, and just like I said, we got guys in Vernon, so
that's awesome.
Too far. Yeah, no problem.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for being on that.
Yeah, it's nice chatting with you.
Podcast. You too. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, of course.